you all let me know when you can see my screen.
All right, we got you.
Okay, all right, great then. Entrepreneur Works, and I'll tell you a little bit about our organization as we go into it. But before, we're going to talk, the title of tonight's presentation is Getting Your Idea to Fly. By a show of hands, how many of you have already started your business or yeah, how many of you have actually started your business? You can put a 1 in the chat or raise your hand to indicate that you have. Okay, we got at least one. Who else do we have here? Okay, Terry, okay, all right. And how many people are looking to start a business? You haven't gotten started yet, but you are in the process of starting. Got some of those? Okay, all right, okay, all right. So what we're going to talk about this evening is a presentation titled Getting Your Idea to Fly, First Steps in Starting a Business. But whether you are just planning to start, or maybe you have started and or emerged in business, the topics and the things that we will be talking about this evening will help you too. Because in a lot of instances, people have started businesses and skipped around some of the steps that we will talk about this evening. But in addition to that, when you're talking about having the proper foundation set for your business, the things that we will talk about this evening will apply to you regardless of your stage. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And before we get started, I want to make sure that everybody can see the screen, which you indicated that you could. Please mute your mic, and most people have done that, and turn off any of your cell phones or social platforms, what have you, and really let's get into tonight's presentation. All right. So just a little bit about Entrepreneur Works, just in case you aren't familiar with us. Entrepreneur Works is in the business primarily to provide services to help people either start or grow businesses. And we offer services in 2 areas: financing in the form of loans. We provide loans from $500 to $50,000. We have a special product for women-owned businesses, our Women's First Loan, which provides a reduced interest rate. We have our Rebound Loan, which is 50% loan, 50% grant. And we also do startups up to $15,000. The other area of services is what we call our technical assistance, which involves our workshops and classes, and our one-on-one consulting services to small businesses. So that's what we do at Entrepreneur Works. I've already told you a little bit about me. Other things that I'm involved in currently, I'm the entrepreneur in residence at the Philadelphia Fashion Incubator, where they train emerging fashion designers in the fashion business. At NextFab, Makerspace, I'm a consultant for their accelerator. I also work as a consultant at True Access Capital down in Wilmington, Delaware. And at the Entrepreneurship Institute at Xavier University, I'm a consultant there for the students that are going through that program and starting businesses. So those are some additional things about me. But let's get into talking about tonight's subject: first steps in starting a business. So I want you all to, a couple of volunteers to answer this. People who have started, what were some of the first things that you did when you started your business? And you can take off your mic and answer that question. Anyway.
Yeah, I can answer. This is Tarvey Wright speaking. The first thing I did was definitely get my paperwork in order. So I filed for my LLC. Um, yeah, definitely filed for my LLC. Went to go get my EIN number or the TIN number, as you say, from the IRS. Went to fill out for my business license. Just make sure I had all my ducks in a row before I started my
Okay,
business. So I made sure I had a little fund to get all my startup costs because I wanted to do it officially.
okay,
Because
all right,
before I started with a little pop-up shop and around the city in Philadelphia, so I used to go there. And I was like, you know what, people liking my products. So I was like, no, let me make this official and become
okay,
a household, try to become a household name. That's my goal. So
okay, all right, all right. Can anybody else share what was some of the first things they did when they started their business?
Hi, this is Taria Pender. I have a company called Peacefully Yours by Taria. What I did was I got a business bank account, so I won't have using my personal and my business money,
Okay,
so it
all
won't
right,
interfere.
okay, all right. What about a person that has not actually started yet, but looking to get started? What will be some of the first things you will do in starting your business?
Hi, my name is Dee Dee, and the name of my company is No Boundaries Retail Photography and Design.
Okay,
And I've done a combination of everything that everyone has said. When I started initially, I got inventory and I sold it. And that was, to me, starting my business.
okay, all right,
Since
all
that,
right,
I have learned to establish a business account. I got an EIN, registered my logo, registered for a trademark, so I could protect my my information. And I just completed a course, the Scale Up course with LA21, and I'm trying to get on the right track to do everything that I didn't do initially when I started.
okay, all right. Anybody else who's getting started in process, what will be some of the first things you will do to start your business? All right, anybody else?
Hello. Well,
Okay.
you know what? Go ahead.
Do we have anybody else?
Um,
Okay,
actually,
Lisa has her hand up.
yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
Lisa.
So,
I'll put my hand up next.
so for my business being a service business offering bookkeeping and financial services, my first step would be to get my name out there, marketing. So marketing would be my first step,
Okay,
meeting clients and making calls.
okay, all right, okay, all right, cool. Well, we all have ideas about to do to get started. And as I said to you all, when I started my first business, I made every mistake in the book plus some. And some of my mistakes went like this. First of all, I was working with IBM as a marketing rep, making good money, nice home, you know, nice living or whatever. I quit my job, moved from Georgia to Philadelphia, and all I had was an idea for a business. Didn't have any idea how to start a business, what running a business was all about, none of that. All I had was an idea for a business, going to start a magazine, and didn't know anything about it. Came to Philadelphia. First thing we did was get some office space. Office space cost $600 a month. Now, I know that really doesn't mean a whole lot to you all right now, $600 a month. But going back to 1980, $600 a month for office space was a lot of money. The second thing we did was went out and got full color stationery. That's another thing that really doesn't mean anything right now, because you can go to Staples tonight, spend $49, get you a color printer, some paper, print all the stationery and business cards you want. In 1980, it wasn't that simple. You had to go to a professional printer that had to do a process called color separation. And color separation was expensive. So those stationery pieces you can do tonight at 49, less than $100. in 1980, you were talking about $3,000. So we had spent $3,000, had this office space and had nothing but an idea. Now, the young man talked about he got his LLC set up, and I'm not saying anything against him. He and I'll talk if he wants to later. But the third mistake I made in 1980 was I incorporated, and all I had was an idea. And what incorporating did was put me on the radar screen of every taxing authority in America, whether I was making any money or not. So those were some of my first mistakes. And one of the things I see as a consultant and a business coach working with people that are starting businesses and those that are even in business, I see a lot of the same things. So what we're going to do this evening is talk about some of the first steps in starting a business and staying out of some of those problem areas. So first of all, let's talk about why businesses don't make it. Some common things. One of the big ones, a lack of knowledge of business fundamentals. There are 3 fundamentals to all businesses. I don't care whether it's a beauty salon, car dealership, restaurant, laundromat, doesn't matter. There are 3 fundamentals to all businesses. The first one is sales and marketing. That's generating money for the business. And it's the most important thing. The second thing is operations. What will be the duties and responsibilities to make the business function, and who's going to do what? And then the third thing is the financial piece, how the money works and the financial management. So those are the 3 fundamentals that apply to all businesses. And when it comes to businesses that not making it, a lack of knowledge of those things cause people problems. Number 2, a lack of a market or need for whatever product or services that you come up with. People will sit in their own homes, talk to people and come up with an idea and figure that everybody's gonna want to buy it because it sounds like a good idea for themselves. They take it out into the marketplace and they find that there are no customers or not enough customers to sustain a business for what it is that they're trying to sell. So a lack of a market, a lack of a need for whatever it is that you're selling. The third thing, inadequate planning and resources. Now, when it comes to planning, I'm not saying that you have to have this 50-page Harvard business plan. It doesn't require that. I have clients right now that I coach who are doing several $1 million and basically did their business plan on a PowerPoint. So we aren't talking about that kind of planning. But what we are speaking about is you documenting and executing what you need to do from day to day to get people to buy your products and services, and who's going and what responsibilities are involved with it, and how much does it cost and how much money you got coming in for the business financially, the planning piece. And resources, inadequate resources in terms of not having enough money, not having the right relationships in your network, not having the right equipment or tools or whatever to get the job done. Those things cause people problems and eventually cause a lot of people to fail. But the big one is the one that I talked about earlier that plagued me in the beginning: doing the wrong things first. I had a young man come into our office at Entrepreneur Works, and said to me that he was going to start him a bodega, a little convenience store. And he had found him a location, had just left the realtor's office and took him out a 3-year lease for the property. So I asked him a series of questions. Well, tell me about the business. What are you going to be carrying? What are you going to get? Where are you going to get your supplies from? What's the little advertising strategy? He said, well, that's what I came to you for. To you figure that kind of stuff out for me. He said, now, where do we start? What you got to tell him? I said, well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is to go back down there to that realtor's office and get your money back and cancel that lease. Because all of these things that I'm asking you are the questions that you should have answered on the front end before spending that money. So what we're going to talk about this evening are some of those first things that help people get off to a better start. And so I know that people have heard you do a business plan, or you get your legal structure in place, EIM, and all. Yeah, that's okay. But before we even take those steps, here's where we start. The first thing is to define your business. What is it that you're talking about as a business? And we're going to talk this evening about how to define your business. That's the first thing that you want to do. The second thing is, once I define it, let me do some research or testing the idea to find out if it is what I think it is. In this laboratory or in my home, sitting back thinking about it or talking to my friends, it sounds like a good idea or the right things. But let me get out here and listen to the marketplace and see what they have to say. And let me research what's going on in the marketplace to find out if it is what I think it is. And the third thing is learn those fundamentals: sales and marketing, operations, and how the money works. And let me say this piece about how the money works, because this is an area where a lot of small business owners are reluctant to really delve into to understand. The thing that you have to understand about a business is that a business is about the money. Now, I don't mean that from the standpoint that you're in the business to be greedy for money, or you'll do anything for money, or all you want is money. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is business is about the money from the standpoint that if the money doesn't work, the business doesn't work. If you don't have more money coming in than it's going out, the business is not going to work. It's going to shut down. So understanding how the money works in a business is an essential that all business owners need to know. But tonight, we're going to talk about this first step in starting your business, which is defining the business. This is a client of mine. It's a coaching client. His name is Calvin Quallis. He owns a business called Scotch Porter. It's a men's grooming product, and his mission is to help men look, feel, and live their best. And he makes a line of great products. I met Calvin when he was, just a year or two in his business. But this thing about the fundamentals of how a business works and defining who he is as a business has allowed him to go from a few $1,000s when I first met Calvin about 6 years ago to sales levels now that are way up in the millions, and he's been able to raise significant capital for his business to grow it. But it has been that appreciation and that learning of the fundamentals it takes to run a business, and on the front end defining that business, that has allowed him to grow to the success that he's having right now. So let's talk about defining a business and getting your idea to fly. Defining your business means answering certain key questions about your idea that starts to give it a business shape. And the nice thing about answering these questions, after answering them, they serve two purposes. One is it gives you some starting point to do some further research or testing your idea. The second thing is it gives you kind of a marketing plan or a marketing strategy to start out, even if you just want to test your idea. So let's talk about how you define your business. The first thing is to answer what need you're meeting or what problem you're solving for your customers or the people that you're trying to sell to. Businesses are in business to meet a customer's need or solve some problem. One of the first things you want to do is focus in on what is the need problem that I'm meeting. The second thing, who's the customer? You got a lot of people out in the marketplace, and if you're selling business to business, you got a lot of different businesses buying all kinds of products and services. But just because there are people out there in the marketplace that are buying what you are potentially selling doesn't mean every person in the marketplace is your customer. So you want to define who your customer is and try to be as focused in on identifying who that is. The third thing is to articulate, well, what product or service am I going to sell to this customer to meet their need or solve the problem? The fourth question, well, how am I different than other businesses out there that are solving the same problem or meeting the same need for the same people with the same product, something similar, or a substitute? How are you different? The fourth thing, well, why will they buy it? What is it that's going to cause them to take the money out of their pocket and hand it to you? What's your value proposition? What I mean by that is, what is that promise before you even open your mouth about your product that you're going to so well establish in the marketplace's mind that they know what they're going to get just seeing who you are? An example of that is Apple. You see the Apple symbol on the product, there are automatic things that you know about. It's going to be the latest in technology. It's going to be advanced. It's going to be the leading edge. It's going to be a quality product. They are going to stand behind it. That's what we mean by the value proposition. What's the revenue model? Are you going to be selling direct to consumers? Are you going to sell to retail stores who are then in turn sell to consumers? Are you going to be have a subscription where people subscribe and they are sent product and they pay you monthly or whatever? But what's the model for you to generate revenue? Where will you sell it? It's over the internet, in your own store, through other people? How will you promote it? How are you going to let the marketplace know what it is that you're selling or have to offer to the marketplace? And the final thing is, when will you start? And this is particularly true for the new business. And I recommend that you have this question answered. And here's why. We all know that person that says to us, I'm going to start me a business. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And you see the person 6 months later and you ask me, you started that business? No, I hadn't got around to it yet, but I'm still planning and thinking about it. You see him another 6 months later, a year later. Have you started that business? Well, I'm going to get around to it. You know, my mama got sick, so he got some things thrown off. 18 months, 2 years, 3 years go by, they never do it. The point is, give yourself some time frames to work with to get things done. And even if you don't hit those time frames exactly, show where you have at least made some progress or done some things in the effort to get started. You want to put those kinds of time frames on yourself so you'll actually start some movement toward doing it. But this evening, we're going to talk about 3 of these things in defining your business that I find to be most important to help you get off to a good start. And these are the things that I have listed in red. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. What need are you meeting? What problem are you solving? Really starts to define what business you really are in. Now, let's go through a couple of examples. What you want to do is to define your business and see your business around the need you meet or the problem you solve and not the product. I repeat, you want to have a view of your business and see it based on the need you meet or the problem you solve and not the product. Let's talk about why. Let's say in the early 90s, and I know we probably got some young people on this this seminar, so I'm being a bit presumptuous. You might not even know what a cassette tape or a cassette tape player is, but just Google it right after we get done if you don't know. But let's say in the 1990s, I had a business and I was selling cassette tapes and cassette tape players. And I had a new employee working with me and he asked me, Earl, what business are we really in? And I would tell him, I'm in the cassette tape business. I got cassette tapes, I got cassette tape players. I got a long line of people coming in and out of this store. And we got the latest music that people want. We got the latest hot Earth, Wind and Fire over here. You know, what you talking about? We're in the cassette tape business. But then you consider this. We come to 2020, 2022. And I'm still saying that I'm in the cassette tape business. But it's different. I got a much different look. In the 90s, I was looking really gleeful because I was making money and making money to burn. But come 2020, I don't have that same look because I'm not making the same money because people aren't using cassette tapes and cassette tape players like they were in the 90s. So by me saying that I'm in the cassette tape business, I'm a cassette tape entity, that's all I could see. So when people's choices changed about listening to music, I didn't adjust with that opportunity. However, when the young man approached me and asked me, Earl, what business are we in? I would have been better off answering him. We help people organize, manage, and gain access to content. That's what the business is. And when you consider that you got tablets, streaming services, smartphones, if I had had that view of my business that I help people organize, manage, and get access to content, as technology changed for listening to music and content, I would have just changed with it. But only if I'm focused on the need and the problem am I going to be flexible enough, have a view of my business enough that I would see that opportunity. So that's the inherent danger of seeing your business. And this is an internal thing to the marketplace. Yeah, the marketplace sees me as a cassette business. You want them to know what it is that you sell. But internally, when you start to think of who your business really is and planning for its future and trying to grow it, the perspective that you want to have is built around understanding and seeing your business according to the needs you meet and the problem you solve. Now, the first young man I showed you was Calvin Quallis, the guy with the grooming products. When he first introduced his product and he started to look for investors, investors were saying, well, what if men's styling choices change? You got beard products. What if they decide they won't start, but don't want to wear beards anymore? But that's when he started to really define the business as we help men live, look their best lives. And now he's into not all kinds of grooming items, fragrances, wellness products, styling accessories, because all of those things meet the need of helping men live, look, and feel their best. Once he started to project himself at that, investors saw the business entirely different and started to jump in. But seeing it as just a product company built around beards, well, they didn't see that kind of opportunity. We'll talk about one other example. Anybody out there a fashion designer or in the fashion business? Anybody out there? Okay. All right, well, it's okay. So Ralph Lauren makes fashion for men, for women, casual clothes, dress clothes. But in addition to that, Ralph Lauren makes fragrances, furniture, home decor, decorative accessories. So how does he get from this place where he's doing fashions to this. And the way he gets there is that he defines the business as providing consumers a complete, sophisticated lifestyle. And when he starts to look at the business that way, he sees a whole lot more opportunities of what the business can be. If he saw himself as a fashion designer would be the only thing he could see. But because he defines the business and sees his business as providing consumers a complete, sophisticated lifestyle, his business can be a lot more. When was the last time any of you were in a Blockbuster to get a video? Some of the young people may not even know what a Blockbuster is. But Blockbuster saw themselves as being the largest video retail operation. Netflix came along, and Netflix actually tried to get Blockbuster to buy them. But because Blockbuster saw themselves as a video retail store, they could not even see the opportunity. Whereas Blockbuster saw themselves as a retail store operation being the largest, Netflix saw itself as in the content business and providing people access to content. So the bottom line is that the benefit is that you define your business around the need of the problem. It helps you remain competitive, you avoid obsolescence, and expands what your business can be. So I want to put a pin right here for a minute and ask if there are any questions about this part of what we've talked about. Any questions, comments, people being able to relate the information or saying it doesn't apply? Any comments or any questions?
I did. Mr. Boyd, that was excellent. It really resonated with me. My business, I leverage my 32 years of HR leadership. I love assessments, Myers-Briggs, but people have to see it as a problem first. I might like it, right? I think it's a solution, but what I've learned is to listen to so I have two principal customer avatars. One would be individuals that want to understand who they are, what their natural design, their interests, skills, so on and so forth. In that market, what I realize is a student, a college student, a high school student may not see that for themselves yet. So my focus are the parents, right? The parents know, like when you're in a career that you hate for 20 to 30 years, and if they knew what they knew now, they're willing to pay for their children, for their students, their sons and daughters to get that. So that's what I learned by taking that step. Okay. And on the other side, in terms of HR consulting, what I've seen is, and just in terms of who I've supported over the years, CEOs, commissioners, is that not everyone sees HR the same way. Some are more strategic. They're like, oh yeah, that is the value proposition. I want to make sure my employees feel at home or included. But there's some others, oh, I just want to get them paid. I just want to make sure the benefits. So I have to listen. So what I've learned is I need an assessment for both those customers, right? So what you've helped me to really be clear on is I'm a problem solver, right? It's not my biases of my field, like, oh, they need to, it's not what I need, it's what they think. Now they can evolve along the way, right? As I get,
Yeah, and that's a key point about understanding that what they need, because you want the custom. And that's going to be the next area we get into, is this whole thing about customers. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that point. we'll take one other question, if there is one, over what we just talked about. Is there any other question? All right. Well, thank you. And, oh, okay, Mary has a question.
Could you say more about this valuation, the valuation part you were talking about? Something about you have to be able to impress the customer right away.
That value proposition.
Value proposition, yeah.
And one thing about
that.
And one thing about a value proposition when you're new, it's something that that's gonna evolve over time. So in the beginning, you will paint a picture of how you want people to think about you. I want people to think, when they think about business, that they're going to get a quality product, that they're going to get exceptional service. But what's going to happen is you're going to have to build a business that actually lives up to that. You can say that, but you got to build a business that actually lives up to it. I had a young man in a class that had some of the most beautiful logos and slogans that you could ever find. Great stuff. He came and I hired him to do some work for me. But the work he didn't match up with the image or what he said the value proposition is. So it's more than the words, it's the actual doing and delivering of your products and services to your customers and whatever you say your value proposition is. But it will be something that will evolve over time, because right now you got to get some customers, serve some, find out what they like, what they don't like, that kind of thing. All right? Okay. So let's go to the
Lisa's waving her hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry, Lisa. I didn't see you.
I know, it's all right. So I'll be real quick. So earlier, in regards to defining your business, and specifically you mentioned, how is it different? For me, as doing bookkeeping and financial services, I have a lot of competitors.
I'm good. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
While you were talking, I remembered I was talking to a small business owner, and he did mention to me that he needs help with organizing. So then, I can, like, my mind is going now on how I can expand my services and maybe stand out. But I guess my true question to you is it much different, from me? Because what is it? I'm gonna be nice, maybe cost them less.
Lisa, I'm glad you asked that question, because it's going to be the third point that we talk about. And I'm going to talk about something that's so common that we think there isn't a way to distinguish ourselves, but it is. So just hold on for a few minutes and we're going to talk about that, because you will find that you'll be able to talk about some differences. All right? Okay, all right. So now, let's go to the second thing. You all got some good questions here. Yeah, this is going to be all right. So let me do this. Yeah, okay. So now, this is Wakila Salim, founder and CEO of Attentive Care Service Agency. When she came into one of my classes about 5 or 6 years ago to start her business and learn how to do it, she didn't have a business. She was working in home care, but she wasn't doing it. She started the business, but she followed a lot of these fundamental first steps that we're talking about and learning the fundamentals associated with running a business. This was about 6 years ago she came through the class, and now she's in excess of $1 million in her sales. But now, let me say this, let me put this caveat. This ain't got nothing, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Calvin's success has nothing to do with me. Wakila's success has nothing to do with me. I'm not taking any credit for the success that they have had. They have all the credit. What I presented to them was things to think about to get started, but it was up to them to do it and make it work. So regardless of the role I may have played in making them aware, I can't take credit for the success because they had to go out and do the stuff. But they did the stuff and had some success. So the bottom line with that is that nothing is 100%. You aren't gonna have people follow certain things and 100% of them are correct, but what are gonna be successful. But what we are after is that thing, for the most part, generally speaking, more often than not, 9 times out of 10, that's what we're talking about. And when you look at these approaches that I'm talking about, they fall into that category. More often than not, these are the things that make people successful. In most cases, these are the things that make people successful in business. So let's talk about the second. Who's the customer? Now, when we're selling common commodities, especially like food, clothing, and shelter, we see our businesses, well, everybody eats food, so everybody my customer. Everybody wears clothes, so everybody my customer. Anybody could be my customer. Or those that want to do certain things is my customer. I don't want to discriminate, so I sell anybody. But it doesn't boil down. It doesn't work that way. Because if you are a hairdresser and you have people coming into your salon doing hair, those that can't pay, no matter how bad they want their hair done, they aren't your customer. They want it, but they can't pay the price. So let's talk about this second piece that's important in terms of getting your business started, is defining who this customer is. And I left out a couple of slides, but I'll do this way. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Okay, let me do this right here. I left out this slide, but it's okay. Got to be able to make some adjustments on the fly. Who's the customer? Now, Old Navy, Saks Fifth Avenue. Both of them sell clothes. You can go into either one of these stores and get you something to wear and keep from being naked. But for the most part, the people that's going into Old Navy to buy the clothes are not the same people that's going into Saks Fifth Avenue to buy the clothes. I mean, there's a different kind of clothes that each one of them sell at a different price point. And the customers that they are seeking are entirely different. So now, let me point out this example. And businesses spend money on, they spend more money in marketing in this area of identifying who their customer is than anything else. And they don't spend money in advertising and promoting their businesses on people that's not their customer. Now, I was talking about clothes, and we all wear clothes, but all of us ain't going into Saks Fifth Avenue and going in buy clothes. All of us not going to Old Navy. Now, Saks Fifth Avenue. I've been in Saks Fifth Avenue about 4 times. And the reason I was in Saks was to buy my wife a fragrance that she wanted for her birthday that only Saks Fifth Avenue sold. So I had to go in there. And I went in there and saw them prices. And I understood why I wasn't no Saks customer, when I would have bought that fragrance. Christmas came along, same thing. I want this new fragrance that only Saks carried. I had to go in there. So it happened to me 4 times that she wanted fragrances that only Saks sold. But even with me going in there, Saks doesn't send me no catalogs, no email announcements, no promotions. They don't send me nothing because they know based on my profile, I'm not their customer. They ain't gonna spend no money on me. So what businesses do is to try to define as sharply as possible who their customer is by looking at these things. First, who they are. Things like age, race, education, their gender, occupation, to start narrowing down who is your customer. Well, where do you live? Where are they? What city, what region, what community, what county, what country? Yeah, it starts to give you some idea of who you're talking about and profiling them. Psychographic type things. What kind of recreation do they do? What kind of TV shows they watch? What they read? What kind of lifestyle? These are things you want to try to get to understand about who are the people that are more than likely want your solution to their problem than the next person. Their behavior. What are their buying decisions? How they make them? What influences them? How often they do certain things? When do they do? You want to know as much about the people that you're trying to sell to as possible. And this is what businesses do. So you want to define who your customer is. So let's go into that a little deeper. If you're selling to business things, and I'm going to send this presentation to Joseph and Kevin so they can distribute it to you if they want. But these are examples of how you can profile who your customer is with as much detailed information as you can get. Here's a business to consumer of a coffee shop that kind of lays out different characteristics of what their ideal customer is. And this is the kind of information that helps you start to target and define who you're looking for. Now, a lot of you, are new businesses just getting started, and you don't have the money to do research and business and what have you. So here's what you do. The people that you're already selling, start to get some information from them as they buy. You know how you go into stores or you buy something on the internet, and after you check out, they ask you certain questions about who you are, where you live, how much money you make, what kind of job you work. And what happens over time, certain information starts to be consistent in terms of who they are, what their characteristics are. You want to start to shape that kind of knowledge about your customers, because, and here's the other point about this. A lot of these things that I may be talking about may be fairly new to folk. And this whole thing of who your customer is, it might be a little foreign, but here's what I always tell people. When you go out here in the marketplace and mess up some money, that's when it will all become clear to you. And you'll say, oh, that's what he's talking about. You go out here and spend money on an ad to people that really aren't interested in what you're selling. I understand now. Or like I did once, put product in a place, advertised, and people couldn't find it because the place I was advertising was not in the market where my customer was. So as time goes on, concepts that we're talking about, particularly like this, customer will become more and more important to you, defining who your customer is. All right? Any questions about this? Okay, let's get into the.
I'm sorry, real quick, Earl, my apologies. So then back to like a service business, right? As opposed to a product. Maybe I'm not gonna meet all this stuff, right? Because who cares? I don't care if it's an individual business. I don't care their age group. They need bookkeeping and financial services. That's where I wanna, so really there's not going to be an age thing. I mean, of course, a business owner or whoever has the need, but do you understand my question? Like, I'm not so much zoned in on, okay.
So there are different profile characteristics for a business. Let's look at what's up on the screen. All right. So this particular company is selling marketing services. So what it wants to do, let me profile the kind of company I'm going to sell to. Is it large? Is it small? Do they have big staff or small staff? Where do these people go to find that information when they're looking for services? In this example, it looks at what kind of conferences they attend, what kind of blogs and websites do they get their information? How do they make decisions? What are some of the challenges these people have? So you will look at the same thing. Maybe there will be an industry focus that you have. Maybe you don't want to work with manufacturers. You want to work with retail business. And maybe you don't want to work with every retail business. You want a retail business that's doing in excess of a couple of $100,000. I don't want to do businesses that's doing 10,000. They ain't gonna be able to afford my services. So the same principle holds true. Every business out there isn't your customer. So what type of business is your customer and what are some of those characteristics? That's what we're getting at. So that's how this translates from a B2C to B2B. It's the same thing. The principles are the fundamentals are the same regardless. Does that answer it, Lisa? Okay, all right. I'm glad you asked the question. Don't mind any of you asking any question. No question is a bad question or a dumb question. We're talking about making your business work. So, final thing. What is your niche? How am I different? As Lisa said, I'm a bookkeeping service, and bookkeeping is bookkeeping. I mean, how can I tell anybody that I'm really different? How can you say that? But the key point about business is having a niche, something that makes you look different than the person that's selling the same thing, something similar, or a substitute to the same people that you're trying to sell to solve the same problem or meet the same need. So let's look at this one. We got hamburgers, fry, and something cold to drink. At McDonald's, let's say $6.99. And how I'm looking different, fast and convenient. Hamburger, fries, something cold to drink. But let's go to Five Guys. Same concept. Hamburger, fry, something cold to drink. But the way they make themselves look different. My meat is fresh, never frozen. My fries, they fresh cut. I got 12 different toppings you can have for free, your choice, on your burger. And while you standing here waiting on the person in the back to get it ready, you can eat all the peanuts you can eat. The same concept. Burger, fry, something cold to drink. But it looks different than McDonald's, and they can charge more money. So then we go to Bob's Burger Pack over there at the University of Pennsylvania campus. Burger, fry, and a drink. But this is how they make themselves look different. They sell these gourmet burgers, avocado burgers, Hawaiian burgers, Caribbean burgers, or what have you, but it's still a hamburger. The furnishings in the store, in the restaurant, is more upscale, in a little Art Deco design. Instead of eating off with plastic utensils and off of paper containers, they give you dinner flatware and your fries. Instead of your fries coming in a paper container, they come in these little chrome fancy scones. They got waiters and waitresses. Same concept. Burger, fry, something cold to drink. But they make it look different to the point that they can charge $16, $17 for the same concept. Let me bring it home a little closer to you. Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual says it will customize your car insurance. How many people got $500 deductibles on their car? How many people got $1,000 deductible? How many people got say rent a car replacement if they are in an accident, collision, full coverage, right? Who you got on insurance with, Lisa? What company?
Travelers.
Travelers. Okay, so Liberty Mutual says they will customize your car insurance. But every insurance company in the marketplace will customize your car insurance because, Lisa, you could have got $500 or $1,000 deductible. You could get collision or you could get full coverage. You can get full tort or limited tort. You can get rent-a-car coverage or you don't have to take it. But by them saying it enough, they put into the minds of the marketplace that they different. So in your case with the bookkeeping, maybe you will have a team of bookkeepers. Well, we got team of the benefit of that is that we got expanded capacity and great knowledge base. We take the time to get to know your numbers. We understand your profit margins, stuff like we do more than just plug in the numbers. We can tell you the story. So there are different ways that you can craft that story to where, see, it's not the bookkeeping. Like you say, it's bookkeeping is bookkeeping, but those extra benefits that you may bring, that's different than somebody else. Somebody else may be, we do manual bookkeeping. Well, we do QuickBooks and automation. The thing to pull out are those hard-hitting things that make you different. You don't want to say quality or just quality or affordable, because everybody gonna say that. Find 3 to 5 hard-hitting things that really make you stand out, and you say that. And the reason that it's important that you identify these things, when you start talking about making up your messaging for your website, your conversation for when you're at conferences, your conversation when you're talking to prospects for your service, these are the things you say. No use in talking about things that really aren't those. You talk about those things that really make you stand out from every other choice they got out there. All right? Yeah. Send me a email address for you. Those people looking for bookkeepers. Put it in the chat. Yeah, a message in the chat. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But these are the things that when you start thinking about starting a business, these are some things you want to focus in on defining your business. Now, where do you take it from here? As I said, you want to do this research, but you may want to do some testing. So now with Lisa and her business, I'm going to test this out with some people. First, when I go to people, here's the problem I'm solving for you. Here to meet you worried about these numbers, you worried you want to be educated. I'm the solution because I provide my clients financial peace of mind about their businesses. Who's the customer? Well, I think the customer, I'm gonna focus in on beauty salons. That's beauty salons. You look in the window there, they got 4 or 5 styles, but I'm gonna focus in on them. And when I go in to talk to them or put up me a web page or whatever, these are the services that I'm gonna tell people I'm providing. But I'm also gonna tell here's how I'm different. Test it out. Just test it out. And of course, you got to price it and all the things that we didn't get into, but that may be your way of doing some research. And or the people that aren't ready to test or don't want to test, you want to go out and study the marketplace and look at other businesses and seeing what they're doing and how they operate. You want to understand more about what their competitive strengths are, why customers are going to them.
I have a question.
Go
Earl,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Did you get into, is this the research and testing we're talking about?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so, all right, let's say a food service business, right? Just getting in, they might make something in their house and like, I don't know, pass it out to coworkers or so. That's testing it, right? Seeing how people respond to their food. For me, what I'm gonna have to, Dina, can you please give me a second? For me, I'm gonna have to buy my software. How do I test? How do I test? Like, I'm gonna have to first, before I get started, I have to get the software.
Okay, all right.
Right? Like, how am I? I'm just.
What else do you need to service a business? You say you need the software. What else?
My customers. I mean,
well, before you get to customers, what else you need to be able to service a customer? You mentioned the software. What else you need?
I'm gonna definitely need like a partner right now. Like maybe some. Never mind. I don't know.
No. What makes you need a partner?
I guess nerve. I guess someone that's been in business, and can, because I'm just starting out, and I guess it's nerves more. I'm not sure.
It's just nerves. And let me say this about nerves and fear. Fears are basically fears of feelings. They aren't fears of consequence, they're fears of fear. I don't want to feel embarrassed. I don't want to be nervous. I don't want to make no mistakes. I don't want people talking about me or looking at. It's the fears of feelings. But what's the consequence to a feeling? Okay, yeah, I'm a little embarrassed or whatever. What's the consequence of that? As opposed to what's the consequence of you not going out here and trying? That means you'll never get started and you'll never get a customer. That's where the real consequence is. All right? So
yes.
You know bookkeeping. Have you done bookkeeping for other people?
Just for work? No.
Okay, but you know bookkeeping.
Yes, and financial statements, yes.
It's financial. So find your customer. And maybe if you are still working a job or what have you, do it as a side hustle. Let me find me a couple of people to do, who really needs somebody. And, I'm working a job that maybe I can say, well, you ain't got to pay me the top rate or what have you. Let me just get in here and find out if I can do or if this will work. That's testing it out.
Okay.
But you want to get that software now.
Yeah.
Something, like that. You want to get something that you can work with.
Right.
Or some spreadsheets or something. Because everybody out here ain't ready for QuickBooks. Everybody not ready for that. Some people better off doing some spreadsheets.
Okay.
A spreadsheet, how much money coming in, how much going out. That's it.
Okay.
And I know a lot of you, let's talk about this fear thing, because you brought up a good one, Lisa. And when we start talking about these, you know, being a little fearful, a little negative, it's the fear of feelings. But then ask yourself, what's the consequence of a feeling? What's the consequence of feeling embarrassed? What's the consequence of feeling a little nervous, a little unsure? As opposed to what's the consequences of never getting started? That's where the real consequence is. All right. Let's hear some more questions. No other questions. Everybody got it. Go ahead. Who is that?
Hi, this is Dee Dee.
Okay, Dee Dee.
And I have a question. My question really is content. And I have questions. No, I don't got it necessarily. The information you've provided is spot on, it's relevant, and I'm learning as you're speaking. But my issue is my concern. I want to know, have you completed delivering your content? Because I want to hear more. So that's why I'm not asking questions, because I want you to talk instead of me.
Well, I'm at the end of the presentation for this evening. But if there are other questions you want to ask me, you're certainly welcome to do it. And let me say this much about getting it at this point. You're in business, and just like you're learning that to be in business, oh, I need this, I need EIN number, I need to give a legal structure, I need a bank account or what have you. And you're learning all that. The same with this. It's new. So I don't expect you to get it right now. But just like I said earlier, when you go out into the marketplace and start doing a little business and you mess up some money or something doesn't work out like you figured, that's when this stuff will come hit home. Oh, that's what he was talking about. When Lisa goes out here talking about her services and she started talking about, well, I'm quality and I'm affordable, and people ain't responding to that. Oh, okay, I get it now. Let me tell them something else about what I'm doing, how I'm different. You'll get it, man. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Yeah. So, since nobody's asking questions, this is the last thing I'll share with you.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I have a question.
Is it Saba?
Yes.
Okay.
What was, because in terms of fear, I don't know, forget her name, the lady who was talking about fear. Fear, I think, is a big part of the business. So what was your fear when you start a business that you failed, and when you start a business that, what was your personal fear at that time?
Yeah, see, I was so young, didn't have no fear, because starting a business is a two-edged sword. One is the entrepreneur always feel that you gonna figure it out, make it work, what have you. And the thing is, you starting this business, but you're only looking at the bright side. Hey, I'm gonna open up this business. A lot of customers gonna want to start coming in here and buying what I want. So a lot of times, you don't be that fear because you aren't thinking about the other side of it. So, yeah, that was my experience with that fear factor related to starting a business. Yeah, didn't know enough to be fearful of anything, but I'll put it this way. In business, there's nothing wrong with having a bit of fear. But the thing that you really want to stay away from is allowing your fear to paralyze you, where you don't do nothing. It's okay to be fearful. Okay? You're going into a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, new ground, or what have you. And that's healthy, that's okay. But if it paralyzes you to the point that you can't do anything, well, entrepreneurship, starting a business may not be the thing for you. Mm-hmm. But also ask yourself the question, well, really, what is it that I'm fearful about? Am I fearful that the lifestyle that people know me to lead and driving fancy car, what have this might not work out this way. I'm not making the same amount of money. What they gonna think about me? So, yeah.
I think sometimes the fear comes from your lack in specific area of the business. Some people like financial management, all those.
Mm-hmm.
But my case is because I'm from different culture, different country, different background.
Mm-hmm.
My business is a daycare, so my strength is teaching, just teaching. So changing the level of the kids. I have extraordinary way of even the special ed kids. I have the power better than their therapists. I made most of them start doing stuff that and they never done before. But my fear is my stress is just the part that I'm not English is not my first my first language. So and the culture is different. So the communication it's always blocking me to go further because kids are seeing their kids they're improving, but a certain level, sometimes you trying to do things in a way, but it's in a so different way just because the difference of culture, difference of and this is I'm here, I'm in their place, so it's not my country, I'm here, so I'm the one who should adapt or no, but I cannot at my age go back and learn everything and deal with them that in a way that the communication can be very smooth or
Let me ask you this. Tell me about something about daycare and what you do that you didn't know about, say 2 or 3 years ago, but you know now. Anything.
Regulation.
Okay. So years ago, you didn't know about the regulation, but now you know about them. Am I right?
Yes.
So it's the same thing with anything else that you don't know about your business. You're going to get in and learn. The super thing about you is that what you are acquainted with is doing the service that your business is about. Daycare and educating and early childhood education with kids. So things about bookkeeping, things about marketing, where you might not know that stuff because it's not your strength. But if you have to do it because you can't find anybody or hire anybody to do, you're going to do the best you can. And that's all you can do until the business gets to the point where you can buy the service. And that's what and that's what you want to do as you grow your business. And that's why this fundamental of understanding how the money works. So as you make money, you'll understand what kind of money it's going to take for you to be able to build a staff, and you can start accumulating it so you can plug in people that have the strength where you are a little bit weak. But in the meantime, you're just going to do the best you can. And that you can't do, well, I'm just going to have to miss out on that piece for right now until I can do better. That's the real side of business. You aren't going to be able to be an expert at everything. You aren't going to be able to do all the things that are fundamentally sound for a business in the beginning. You know, they're not going to be there. But it doesn't mean you can't be making progress. It doesn't mean that you can't learn to overcome certain things because you've already demonstrated that you can.
Yeah, makes sense.
You don't give yourself we don't give ourselves enough credit for looking back where we have come from. Yeah. And if you do, yeah, you found that you're really capable of doing a lot of things. Yeah, so you'll be okay. And then you know, there's Lisa right there on the
Yeah. Saba, are you finished? Are you finished, Saba?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's why I'm nervous, Mr. Boyd. Not so much as, oh, I need like someone with more experience in business. I've decided I'm not working for anyone else in my life. This has to work.
Okay.
I have to go into business for myself. So it's kind of like a push also where it's like, this is it. Like, I'm not working for another employer. I'm going to do my own thing and do what I love. Also being a single mom and having a house and all, you know, everything, I'm nervous, right? Because usually an employer provides you the work and they pay you. Now I have to go out and make my own. So I think, you know, that's where it's coming from a little bit, but I'm glad I mentioned it to you, and I'm glad others talked about stuff also, so I can, you know, hear and learn from. But I'm feeling a lot better than when I started this call.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this. So knowing that you got house, family, other considerations, what's the best way for you to start?
Get my, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned, okay, not really necessarily I need my QuickBooks right now, but I know I will, but maybe I can get started. I have Microsoft Suite of applications, I have Excel, so I can start somewhere. Yeah, and I have an office space in my house, so, you know, I'm not really, yeah.
And the side hustle thing, having your job and your income supporting you. Sarah, I forget the lady's last name, the lady that started Spanx, you know, the undergarments. She started the business while she was working with some companies. She was up with $30-40 million in sales with Spanx before she quit her job. So having a job and developing your business ain't a bad thing. A lot of people do that. That's the best way to a lot of times do it, because you don't have to worry about the pressure of that income in the beginning. You know, yeah, it's okay to start that way. And the other thing, it's a mindset thing. You start to make this mindset shift that this job I have is just a means to an end. It's the income piece of my business for right now. I'm selling my services to this company that I'm working for. I'm doing this bookkeeping, but I'm really mentally selling them service, and they're providing the income for me while I build. It's a mindset shift. See yourself as being in business.
Mr. Earl, I have a question if Lisa's finished.
Okay,
Hi, I'm Carlene Williams. I have a
okay,
family
Farlene.
Hi, I have a family child care in West Philadelphia. My question to you is, how would you navigate through a problem or a situation where the service that you offer, the area that you're in, is already saturated with that service?
I had a yeah, and I can see that one with the daycare. One thing is talking about your business different. Here, I had a young and this whole thing of defining your business around the problem. I was teaching some classes in Newark, New Jersey for an organization similar to Entrepreneur Works that provide loans and consulting. And we had a young lady in the class that was a daycare. So she was in a situation where she wanted to expand her daycare, but it was some issues with that. Number one, in order for her to expand and get more kids, she had to have another facility because she had run out of space. In terms of getting a new space, well, then it meant that I'm going to have to risk money on finding this space, maybe building it out. I'm going to have to advertise a little more because I'm going to need to get more kids to provide us more income. So there's some risk in it. So we went through this exercise of defining her business. She was seeing herself as a daycare. When we went through that exercise of defining her business around the need and the problem, what we came up with was she was in the business of supporting the lifestyles of families.
Okay, I like that.
Parents got kids. Parents got to go to work. Kids can't stay home and keep themselves. They need some support for their lifestyle. That's the problem that a daycare solves. So once she starts to see her picture, her business as supporting the lifestyles of families, here's the opportunities that she saw. One, her husband was a chef that worked in the evenings at a restaurant. So during the day, he was there at the daycare preparing meals and snacks for the kids. When parents come to pick up their kids from daycare, the next problem they got or the next need they meet, they got to feed these kids. They got to go home and cook. Well, her husband then started to prepare a meal that a family could order when they dropped off the kids, and when they came in the afternoon, the meal would be ready. They have solved another problem for the lifestyle of that family. But here's the good one. There was a lady in the class with her that had a laundromat. The next product, and the lady that owned the laundromat offered her this. She said, hey, the next problem that families with kids have is that they're having to wash all the time, having to do laundry. I tell you what, I do wash and fold at my laundromat. I will have my driver come to your daycare and pick up the laundry that families drop off. We'll bring them back to our laundromat. We will clean them, bring them back to your daycare, and the family can pick them up when they pick up the kids. I'll just charge you our regular wash and fold fee, and you put a surcharge on it for whatever you want to charge the family for the convenience. So by her just seeing her business different, she saw other opportunities. When she was seeing it as a daycare, the only thing she could see was spending more money to get a building, more kids, taking some risks. when she starts seeing her business as supporting the lifestyles of families, it just opened up the opportunities that she could be. Now, I'm not saying that that applies to your situation, but that's what I saw with that particular business. The other thing is, look around at the other daycares that are around you and what they are offering in their weekends. I worked with this young lady that had a daycare down in Chester. I was coaching. She had a situation where the number of kids that she had dwindled, and she needed to be able to get the kids, her student population up to 40, 41 kids in order to break even or something like that. So one of the things we did was, she and I went out as husband and wife one day and went around to different daycares and just find out what they offered or what they sell, what they were saying about themselves. Looked at the strengths and the weaknesses of what they offer, and then based her conversation around how she was different. We then, and at that time, we were using brochures to promote stuff. The internet wasn't that big. So we went around to different employers in Chester and said to them, if you allow her to put her brochures in your business, if your customers use her daycare center, they'll get a 5% discount. Now, what that translated to for the business is that, okay, I'm able to offer, if I put these brochures in here and my employees use your daycare, they get a 5% discount. It's almost like I'm giving them daycare benefits. So it was all, the business said, yeah, put them in here. I can tell my employees now, yeah, you come work here, part of your package, we can find you daycare, offer you some daycare center at a daycare services at a reduced rate. So yeah, you find out and see what other daycares in the marketplace are doing and not doing, and accentuate what you're doing.
Yeah, I had an idea. I don't mean to cut you off. I had an idea of doing business to business, because I have a funeral parlor directly across the street. And maybe families don't really want children, small children and babies at the funeral service. So I was thinking maybe I can partnership with the funeral parlor and see if they will let me put some business cards in their waiting room and see how that works.
And make it, and try to make it a mutually beneficial situation.
Yeah, right. Just so like what can I offer them? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, just think of it that way. Or if I've heard some daycares give parents weekend respites. They want to go somewhere, and so okay, we'll provide some services Saturday or overnight, and different kinds that will find out what the gaps that other daycares in your area have left.
Okay. Yeah. So this industry is like I said, it's saturated. I mean, it's not for the family daycares. You got the centers, and then you got the relative neighbors. So it's really saturated. So you have to be a little more creative. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but at the same time, that they say it's a great need for daycare and it's a shortage. So yeah, but it's a shortage for quality daycare, I think.
Agreed.
All right. So the questions you all ask, you see the answers a lot of times comes back to these fundamentals that we talked about: defining your business around the problem and need, understanding the money, All right. And let's see here. So Kevin, I guess I got 10 more minutes, Kevin.
Let's see. Well, actually, we're about 20 minutes over, but you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin,
That's okay.
I thought it was 7:30. I'm sorry. Hey, I apologize to all of you.
No apologies necessary because
No
everybody stayed.
apologies.
Everybody stayed. But you know,
okay.
I gotta get everybody get to their normal lives.
Okay, all right.
But
we're good.
But I will say this, Earl, if you don't mind, you know, we'll ask people, you know, if they want to have you come back for another session. So
please.
That'll
be fine with me.
Absolutely. So I want to say thank you very much. You know, and this is the big thing about what we do in the BIG. You know, we talk about what your specialty is, but the real value is in the exchange and the Q&A. So you gave everybody what they want. And so I really appreciate your being here this evening. And ladies and gentlemen,
I enjoy most of this exchange, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, just look ahead. We will be having Earl come back again, and we'll have other guests so that we can start asking the questions that you have about your business. That's what this is all about. So I always have to ask this question. Did y'all learn anything tonight?
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. It's great. Great. So did I.
That's what counts. That's what counts.
Well.
Hi, Ajua.
Thanks. Hello. How you doing, Dee?
I'm good.
Kevin.
Hey, Ajua.
I need your email address. I need to ask you something too.
All right. Let me put my email address in the chat.
All right.
And thank you guys for coming tonight.
Yeah, it's been great. And Kevin, let me just give you a minute. Let me get the couple of
Absolutely. Take your time.
Let me get Lisa's email. Yeah, Jay Baxter. I want to get her. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got that one. Just want to get a couple of them. Make sure I get them so I can get in touch with a couple of people. And okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. All right.
Thanks,
now,
Mr.
I will say this, one person that seemed kind of quiet today was Tariq Brown, Wright. So I thought he would be a little bit more vocal, but we'll get
I was trying to get. I had my hand raised, but I just didn't see it.
Okay, all right. Oh, I didn't see it, Tariq. Kevin, can I answer his questions? I didn't see his hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Kevin. Well, I was going to actually give some motivational support to Lisa. So I see she was trying to start a bookkeeping company. I'm saying, like, you got to believe in yourself, because that's a major business you're trying to do, because you're dealing with people's finances. So if you don't have no confidence in yourself, how are you going to gain support and customers? Because you're dealing with major corporations' money. So you got to have that confidence. You got to believe in yourself. You got to, like I say, use your kids as motivation. Use your family as a motivation. You said that you want to use that as your #1 source of income. That should be your motivation. Say, hey, I got this confidence. I'm going to research this, how I can become and perfect this business. So use that as motivation to become a better bookkeeping person, become a better business person as well, and build those relationships. So don't be scared. Just take that leap of faith. Of course, it's scary at first, but how you know you're going to be successful if you don't try?
And let me just say this, Lisa. I'm gonna give you some advice that my mother gave me now 50 years ago. If you can do bookkeeping, you'll never be without a job. There's always bookkeeping jobs out there. So all you have to do is understand how to build the processes into your business and make sure that you cover all your bases.
Yeah.
And guess what? You will be just fine. I know you got the skills. This is your background. So your fear is not the business. Your fear is actually taking ownership of that business. And we'll work on that. Yeah. Okay. We'll work on that.
You know, Kevin, we've been working with the Commerce Department here in Philadelphia about technical assistance.
Yep.
One of the biggest areas that the city is interested in supporting business is around bookkeeping and record keeping.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, my question to Earl real quick. Yeah, it was just about funding, because my biggest struggles right now is trying to get funding for my inventory. So everything I'm doing for my business is out of pocket. So I'm just trying to know how can I secure funding for my business.
What kind of sales you doing, Tari?
So I have a Black-owned sporting goods e-commerce company. So I created official basketball, like professional basketball, actually been tested and approved for official use. So we're the first Black-owned company actually to create one. So I'm looking to get that in pretty much high school programs, college programs as well. And also my best selling product is a sneaker travel backpack. So we're pretty much taking the ease off of traveling for my athletes and also travelers as well. So it carries up to 2 pairs of sneakers. It's carry-on free. It comes with a portable charger. It fits up to 3 days worth of clothes. And also you got extra slots for your tablet, your laptop, and you got some extra pull-out hat sling that's waterproof. So it's up to 5 pairs of hats as well. And that's like one of my best sellers. So I'm trying to see.
You got customers right now?
Yeah, I got a lot of customers.
You got a lot of customers.
Yeah. And actually, I'll give you my website and I can actually show you the product as well. But yeah, so that's all my biggest thing because it's the turnaround time.
I'll put my email address in the chat for everybody, and you can get in touch with me if you care to.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Kevin, can I say something to Mr. Earl?
Yeah.
Mr. Earl. You know, I wanted to tell everyone, I found Mr. Earl, everyone, through a friend of mine. And she told me, she said, you know, he is the creme de la creme. You need to reach out to him. And I reached out to Mr. Earl. We had several conversations. And he is a wealth of knowledge. And it's funny because we keep circling back around.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
This ecosystem in Philadelphia.
You're right.
That's why that relationship currency in our business is so important. So, Mr. Right. Thank you, because you've given me some wonderful leads, and Dr. Brownie we just moving along. Praise the Lord.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Dr. Brownie. That's right. Yeah. You know, and I saw you over there. And I said, I wonder is that who I've been, because we've never met. I think we've talked over the phone several times. So yeah, okay. All right.
Well, this is
so thank you. I just want everybody to know that this man is the truth and he will help you. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity tonight.
Tony, so now you see what our ecosystem look like, right? This is where we live. This is where we live, okay?
Yeah.
And I can't stress this enough. We're here to help you get the foundation of your business in order so that you can actually build a business. And if you take care of the basics, guess what? You'll be fine. You'll weather the storm. And I can't tell you you're not going to have hard times. Hard times are going to hit everybody. But when they come, make sure your business is ready for it. And then when the good times come, you can soar. All right.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, everybody. Right. And I hope to see everybody next month. As you know, Earl, he's a part of our network. You will be seeing Earl and hearing from Earl as we move forward.